The Young and the Restless. See what happens when Lauren Koslow takes over Jill's 5-episode June story arc. The Young and the Restless Y&R spoilers reveal that Lauren Koslow, Kate Roberts Brady on Days of Our Lives, will make a splash when she hits the screen as Jill Abbott. Since Jess Walton wasn't able to return for filming this time around, Y&R has found a great temporary replacement. If you're a fan of Lauren Koslow's work as Kate on Days, you already know this temp recast is going to work out just fine. Kate and Jill have the same confident vibes and feisty attitude, so we have no doubt that Koslow will play her new role with ease. Of course, it's interesting that the show opted to move forward with recasting temporarily instead of waiting until Jess Walton was available. That seemingly indicates that Jill's going to be a key player in the drama ahead. In other words, Y&R just couldn't do without Jill for what's coming up, so they had to borrow Koslow from Days and find a way to make it work. Since we know Koslow will be part of a 5-episode story arc that begins on June 25th, we can go ahead and speculate on what Jill will be up to. Jill has been in London dealing with some health issues, but she'll obviously be well enough to travel and get back in the action. There's certainly a lot going on in Genoa City right now for Jill to be part of. Jill may want to confront Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, over Kane Ashby's, Billy Flynn, legal mess since he's like a son to her. Jill may have a big problem with Victor targeting Kane again after he already destroyed Kane's whole Arabesque empire. Kane was all set to give Newman Enterprises back until Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, chloroformed him and took over. So Jill may complain about Victor punishing Kane after he tried to make things right. There's also the matter of Billy Abbott's, Jess Walton name being mentioned in the incriminating emails that Victor's AI program fabricated. Billy is hoping he won't go down for anything, but Jill may want to ensure that her son will be protected. Naturally, Victor might also bicker with Jill since she's an investor for Spectra Charles Media. We can't forget that Newman Media was folded into that company and never given back, so Victor might want to strike a deal of some sort. Since Billy is engaged to Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, and expecting a baby with her, those are other major developments that Jill will weigh in on once she's back on screen. Between the changes in Billy's personal life and any courtroom chaos that might be brewing, there'll be great reasons for Jill to show up in Genoa City again. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Lauren Koslow's temporary run as Jill is sure to bring some memorable moments, so stick with us for more news on her brief stint. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most surprising and emotional shakeups happening on The Young and the Restless this June, because a familiar soap legend is stepping into Genoa City and taking over one of the show's most iconic roles for a very special 5-episode story arc. That's right, Days of Our Lives' favorite Lauren Koslow is temporarily stepping into the role of Jill Abbott, and fans are already buzzing about what this means for the Abbott family, Chancellor Industries, and the emotional chaos that is about to explode across the canvas. Now if you're a longtime soap fan, you already know Lauren Koslow is no stranger to commanding the screen. She has spent years delivering unforgettable drama, powerful confrontations, emotional breakdowns, and larger-than-life performances. So the idea of her stepping into Jill's designer heels instantly turned heads the moment the news dropped. Viewers are incredibly curious to see how she will reinterpret the fiery matriarch, while also honoring the legacy fans know and love. And let's be honest, Jill Abbott is not just any character in daytime television history. She is one of the most layered, complicated, and fiercely ambitious women ever created in soaps. From explosive family feuds to heartbreaking romances and corporate warfare, Jill has always carried enormous emotional weight inside the world of Genoa City. Whenever she returns to town, drama follows immediately. So the fact that this temporary recast is happening during a major June storyline tells us something huge is about to unfold. The show is reportedly building an emotional and power-driven arc centered around Jill's unexpected return and the ripple effects it causes across multiple families. That alone is enough to spark excitement, but when you add Lauren Koslow's dramatic presence into the equation, expectations are skyrocketing. Fans are especially curious because this is not a random blink and you miss appearance. This is a full 5-episode arc. That means Jill will not simply appear for a quick family visit before disappearing again. No, this sounds like a meaningful storyline with real consequences. And if recent spoilers are any indication, Jill's return could completely reshape the power structure inside Chancellor and trigger emotional fallout for Billy, Lily, Devon, and even Victor Newman himself. The timing of Jill's comeback is also incredibly suspicious. Genoa City has been drowning in secrets, betrayals, fractured relationships, and corporate instability lately. Chancellor Industries remains a ticking time bomb as rivalries intensify and loyalties shift every single week. Jill has always been fiercely protective of her legacy, so it makes perfect sense that she would suddenly storm back into town once she realizes everything is spiraling out of control. But what nobody expected was seeing Lauren Koslow at the center of this chaos. Soap fans immediately exploded online after the announcement surfaced. Some viewers were shocked. Others were thrilled. And many longtime fans pointed out how surreal it feels to see such an established soap icon crossing over into another legendary role. There's already a massive amount of curiosity surrounding how Lauren will portray Jill's sharp tongue, commanding energy, and emotional vulnerability. Because let's face it, Jill Abbott is a difficult role to tackle. She is glamorous but wounded, ruthless but emotional, strong but deeply insecure when it comes to family. Jill has always balanced ambition with heartbreak in a way that makes her endlessly fascinating. One moment she's launching a corporate attack. The next she's desperately trying to hold her family together. That emotional complexity is exactly why fans are eager to watch Lauren Koslow put her own spin on the character. And according to insiders, her version of Jill will arrive with intensity from the very beginning. The story reportedly kicks off when Jill receives alarming information about the growing instability surrounding Chancellor. Tensions have been mounting for months, and Jill becomes increasingly concerned that her family legacy is slipping through everyone's fingers. Rather than sit back and watch the damage unfold from a distance, she decides to personally return to Genoa City and take control of the situation herself. Naturally, her arrival sends shockwaves through the Abbott family. Billy immediately finds himself under pressure as Jill questions his recent decisions and emotional state. Their relationship has always been one of the most volatile mother-son dynamics in soap history. Jill loves Billy fiercely, but she also has a habit of controlling him, criticizing him, and pushing him toward choices he may not be ready to make. Whenever they share scenes together, sparks fly instantly. This time may be even worse. Billy has been battling emotional instability, identity struggles, and ongoing conflicts with Victor Newman. Jill returning during this vulnerable period could either help stabilize him or completely push him over the edge. And from what we're hearing, Jill wastes absolutely no time confronting Billy about the direction his life is heading. Their scenes are expected to be emotional, explosive, and deeply personal. Lauren Koslow reportedly leans heavily into Jill's protective instincts while also exposing the character's frustration and fear. Jill doesn't want to lose her son emotionally or professionally, but her attempts to control the situation may actually create even more chaos. Meanwhile, Lily Winters becomes another major focus of Jill's return arc. Jill has always respected Lily's intelligence and leadership abilities, but recent events have complicated everything. The power dynamics surrounding Chancellor have shifted dramatically, and trust between various players is hanging by a thread. Jill reportedly sees Lily as one of the few people capable of restoring stability, but that doesn't mean their relationship will remain peaceful. In fact, spoilers suggest Jill may pressure Lily into making a shocking decision that could divide alliances and trigger a dangerous chain reaction inside the company. And if there's one thing soap fans know about Jill Abbott, it's this. When she wants something, she does not back down. That determination becomes especially important once Devon enters the picture. Devon has been navigating difficult emotional territory lately, while also protecting his own interests and legacy. Jill stepping into this complicated environment could easily ignite a fresh power struggle. Early hints suggest Jill may challenge Devon's vision for the company, and question whether the younger generation is truly prepared to handle the immense responsibility attached to Chancellor. This creates a fascinating dynamic because Jill genuinely believes she's protecting the family empire. But others may see her actions as controlling, manipulative, or outdated. That generational clash could become one of the most compelling aspects of the entire storyline. And then there's Victor Newman. You cannot have a major corporate storyline in Genoa City without Victor looming somewhere in the background. Victor always has an eye on Chancellor-Abbott conflicts and shifting alliances. Jill's sudden return immediately grabs his attention, especially once he realizes she may be preparing to make aggressive moves behind the scenes. The thought of Jill Abbott and Victor Newman circling each other again is enough to make longtime fans incredibly excited. These two characters have decades of history filled with manipulation, respect, rivalry, and strategic warfare. Even the smallest interaction between them carries enormous weight because both characters understand exactly how dangerous the other can be. Sources tease that Victor may attempt to test Jill's motives while Jill refuses to let Victor intimidate her. Their scenes are expected to be packed with tension and subtle mind games. But beyond the business drama and power struggles, this storyline also appears to contain a deeply emotional layer centered around family, aging, legacy, and fear of losing control. That's where Lauren Koslow's casting becomes especially intriguing. She has always excelled at portraying emotionally guarded women who carry deep vulnerability underneath their strength. Insiders suggest her interpretation of Jill leans into the character's emotional exhaustion and desperation to hold her family together before everything falls apart. Jill reportedly begins to realize that time is changing the family dynamics around her. The younger generation is making their own choices. Relationships are shifting. Control is slipping away. And for someone like Jill Abbott, losing control is terrifying. That emotional struggle may become the heart of the story. Fans could see Jill confronting painful truths about Billy, Chancellor, and even herself. There are whispers that one particularly emotional episode will feature Jill reflecting on the sacrifices she made throughout her life and questioning whether all her ambition ultimately damaged the people she loved most. If executed properly, these scenes could become some of the strongest emotional material of the summer. And honestly, Lauren Koslow seems uniquely positioned to deliver exactly that kind of layered performance. Soap audiences love actors who can command a room while simultaneously revealing emotional cracks beneath the surface. Lauren has built an entire career on that balance. That's why even viewers who were initially skeptical about the temporary recast are becoming increasingly curious to watch her performance. There's also the undeniable novelty factor. Crossovers and temporary recasts always generate